Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Mutant here. Today we have a viewer request to build. Matter of fact, two viewers requested this one. This is for Sechrima and Hazel Vandice. Hope I'm saying that right, guys. Apologize. But this one is fraught with problems. There is glitches in the matrix, so to speak, and I need to walk you through that. It kind of self-resolved, which is kind of awesome, but also is going to piss you off when it happens. So again, I have no idea how it's self-resolved, so I'll need to show you what I'm talking about. But first, know that I went with a Cleric Wizard build instead of an Ecclesitheurge at that, which is what you guys suggested, but you wanted an Imperial Sorcerer instead of a Wizard. And I'm assuming the reasoning beyond that is because, again, Wisdom being the main casting stat, you can just merge it with the Cleric spell list, because, again, Wisdom-based caster. A solid choice. I've done something similar where I went for a type of Cleric that I want to say was Charisma-based. So literally, it wasn't a Cleric, I want to say it was an Oracle, and I went against Sorcerer. But there's two spontaneous casters now we're talking about, and that's, again, a completely different feel, a different beast, if you will. So I went with these for two reasons. One, while it's not as good, in my opinion, as having at least one spontaneous casting. Two, I don't really have the time, quite frankly, to go through both spell books and decide which of the two classes should be the spontaneous caster. What do I mean by that? If you're going for something like a subpar build, like a Mystic Theurge build, again, powerful build, don't kid yourself in any stretch of the imagination, even without mythic ranks, both of these would be amazing builds or spell books to play with. But we're working on a completely different game compared to Kingmaker here. We're talking about demons, where spell penetration is going to be an issue because of high spell resistance. Caster level is going to be important for you from the start to the end of the game. You have to imagine you need to bring your A game, is what I'm basically telling you here. And the reason that that is important is if you literally are limiting either of these spell books to not just everything you can scribe, or again, as a cleric, anything that you just unlock, you literally need to know the spells so well, backwards and forwards, to the point where, like, I definitely need that spell. That has to be on the list. And you have to know how many spells you're going to have. You need to know when they're going to show up. You know, what level, I should say, that your character is going to be when you finally get that cure spell, or that attack buff spell, or the debuff spell. You know, whatever it is we're talking about. The spells that I focus on would be, as a subcaster, which, let's just say, for the longest time you're going to be, spells like this one, where, again, no spell resistance is really important. And sure, I could put together a list for you on the Wizard list reasonably easy. Cleric less so, but it's still something that can be reasonably easily done. Just power level a character up to level 17 as a purest Cleric or purest Wizard, and then see what spells on that list make the cut. Ones that are, like, obviously, again, no spell resistance, or no save or suck spells, or at the very least save or suck spells, where it's not just save or suck, it's more like save and something happens spells. I'll give you a fine example in the Wizard list, something that I've touted before as being an amazing spell. Ray of Enfeeblement. There is a spell resistance, so that part is no bueno, but if they penetrate that, which again is possible, the saving throw usually screws you. Well, in this case it doesn't. It literally, something happens and it lowers the debuff, if you will, by half. And hey, that does suck, but it's not game-breaking to the point where you're just like, well, that was a waste of a spell. For example, the one right next to it, Ray of Sickening. Save or suck spell proper. The Fortitude save negates the effect. You see stuff like this, you should probably go elsewhere if you were a spontaneous caster. Unless, you, of course, you really wanted the spell, or you really know that you're pumping whatever's going to make the Fortitude check, the DC check, you know, high, high, high. And again, if you went, like you suggested, the Imperial Sorcerer Ecclesitheurge build, focusing all in on Wisdom, you could finish with a Wisdom at 24. Well, what did I end up with my character? I have, of course, gear on right now, but as you can see, I only got a +4 headband for Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma, just to mimic some things and to give me my Wizard spells up to level 9, which was important to me. As such, this literally is exactly what you guys would be shooting for. You would want to have a base value of 22 plus 2 from your ratio, so 24 by the end of the build. So I got you the Wisdom. So if you wanted to switch things out, that is a possibility. Know that you probably don't want 7 levels of Imperial Sorcerer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, I should say that right off the bat, but there's nothing great about it either. Why? Because for spontaneous casters, and here really is the problem with Mystic Theurge, in my opinion, you really want the classes that get a level upgrade at the odd levels. Why? Because you're splitting between two classes, right? You got a Cleric and a Wizard is just the generic, obvious answers here. So a 5-5, 5 levels of Wizard, 5 level of Cleric, 10 levels of Mystic Theurge. You end with a level 15 Wizard, a level 15 Cleric, all in one character. Well, what does that mean? That's level 8 spells for both of them. right? And that's amazing. But now we have the wonderful addition of Mythic Pass, where we can either go Angel, which is what you guys suggested. I still disagree with, but more on that later. That will allow you to take that Cleric even higher. Again, part of the reason I'm assuming you went that way. I went Wizard 7, so that with 10 and 7, that's 17th level Wizard, as you saw, that's some good English right there. As you can see, in my spellbook, I'm caster level 17 Wizard. Well, that means I'm actually able to cast level 9 spells. Not a bunch, but I still have the use of them, which is of value to me. Having said that, that'd be a 13 Cleric if it weren't for the Mythic Path. That's giving me another 10 merging of the spellbooks from the Angel Mythic Path, right? So that allows me to finish with a 23 level caster Cleric. Again, actually able to get level 9 spells. Pretty damn badass. So again, some serious fun to be had here. Problem with your build is if you go with the 17th level instead of Wizards, again, say your Imperial Sorcerer, or just Sorcerer in general, then you literally are not getting to your level 9 spells. You're getting up to level 8. And that's not that big of a deal. I mean, let's just say level 9 spells are awesome. They're definitely fun, and having up to 5 of them is totally worth, in my opinion, because there's some really good stuff in here. Fiery Body and Foresight alone kind of make a build a monster. Throw in some stuff like Shades, which is a nice utility spell, or Energy Drain that you can, like, as a stand-back caster type, which is what I would assume you guys would want. You're going to be beaming the shit out of guys for all kinds of negative levels and just tearing them down that way. Again, solid spells here to pass on them. And again, sure, you can make the argument, hey, I'm just going to use wands and scrolls and stuff to level 9. You know how fucking pricey this shit is? This is not something you're going to want to be like, let's pack up 5 of my Foresights today to buff me and or the team. No, you want that shit on tap. That's the whole fucking point of level 9 wizard spells. So, again, you're kind of screwing yourself by being the spontaneous caster. And again, I get it. I totally rock the whole spontaneous caster thing. I play an Eldritch Scion all the time. In fact, I've done a subcaster build on this for Kingmaker back in the day with a Mystic Theurge bent, where I was Eldritch Scion partly, and I was partly an Inquisitor, I want to say. Which, again, 2 spontaneous casters, which is really trippy, and neither get beyond level 6 spells. I think on that build, the best I got was, let's see, it'd be a 4-6 split, more likely than not. So that'd be 14 and 16. 14 would be level 5 spells, and 16 would just be tapping the level 6 spells for one of those 2 classes. And again, weird, feels odd, and again, you're missing all the nuts and bolts, if you will, out of the actual classes. Give me an explanation about what I mean by that. Look at the wizard here. I'm getting a free spell, or caster type feat, wizard feat. So that's nice. I get another one here at level 5. I don't get anything beyond that, though, right? I'm not getting the 10, the 15, and the 20, obviously. I'm also not getting, if I went a specialist, notice I went universalist, but if I was a specialist, there'd be stuff showing up at level 8. Hell, even as a universalist, there's stuff at level 8 that I'm missing out on. Yeah, so stuff that I really could have enjoyed having on this character. Same when we talk about the cleric side of things. When you talk about the domain specifically, nothing shows up at level 3, 4, or 5 usually, so it's usually around level 8. And again, you can't do that with a Mystic Theurge build where you're trying to get 10 levels of Mystic Theurge. Again, that's assuming you want those 10 levels. Of course you probably do, because it makes both spellbooks progress. Why wouldn't you want that? Well, there is a reason. So again, if I went to, like, say, 7 levels of Cleric and 3 levels of Wizard, so I flip-flop these 2, right? Again, I'd be missing these 2 domain abilities here. And again, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but some of these can be pretty darn powerful. If that's something of value to you, then going 9 levels of Mystic Theurge, you can see that, you still manage to get to this. You don't get as much Wizard progression then. That sucks. And the Cleric progression, you may say, well, you're getting less of that too. You know you're not, because that's where you're putting the extra level. You're going from level 7 Cleric to level 8 Cleric. So again, you're making the conscious choice to level up a specific class over another, like the Wizard. I like this 7-3 split, though, because again, with Mythic backgrounds, again, I can get that Cleric levels up again beyond the Wizard and still have access to those level 9 spells. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. What was the glitch, the problem, the matrix breaking issue? When you power level a character like this, again, I'm making random decisions on what levels would show up with the same levels of, with another level, I should say, of Mythic rank. So when I say, oh, you should be Mythic rank 1 by, let's say, level 5, Again, that's from play testing on my own. Seems to be about level 5, maybe level 6. Hell, maybe even level 4 if you're really not doing a lot of side content. Everyone's going to be different on this. But that's why I make milestones. I say, well, this should be about 5. This should be about 7 for rank 2. From there, I just kind of like ballparking it because, again, I haven't played the game in its entirety. And I don't kind of want to until the game's released. So again, I just like every other level or so, I throw another mythic rank on top of it. Well, here's the problem. When you become 3rd level mythic rank and you specifically pick the Angel Mythic path, you're merging your spellbook with your Cleric spellbook, which by that point you've probably already have started to unlock things like Mystic Theurge, which again increases your Cleric levels, increase your Wizard levels as far as casting only. And then when you, again, merge now that spell book from the Angel path, that gives you 3 levels, boom, instantaneously to your Cleric. Well, the game glitches. You'll notice right now, if I go through my spell book levels 1 through 9, look for things like cure spells. This is the easiest way I find to test this shit. So if your cure and your inflict spells, make sure they're both there. Are they there? Yes. Then you got your Cleric level as normal, because you can't get those spells from the Wizard side of things, right? Level 2, again, where's my cure spell? There it is. Where's my inflict spell? Way the hell down here. So again, everything's fine. Level 3, again, cure serious fine, inflict serious fine. 4, where you at, bastard? There's cure critical, inflict critical. Again, we're good to go. And again, if I continue to go and cycle through these, you'll see that I have them at every level, right? So again, cure spells, 7, cure spells, level 8. Is it a cure spell at this point? No, it's still a cure spell. Now notice at 9 you don't get one, but it's not true. You get mass heal. There is no more cure. Mass cure critical is the last one, level 8. That's as high as it's going to go. From there they give you spells like this. And again, this is awesome. This is powerful. This is a character you would enjoy having, because again, you have access to all level 9 spells, 1 through 9 for Cleric, 1 through 9 for Wizard. If you power level your character up like I did, or even in the game if you're playing, this level A never showed up properly. It did after I saved and reloaded the game. Suddenly it gave me my spells back. So that's probably your fix, your go-to fix. So if you've seen an issue, bug report that shit. Know that there was a way to solve it, and nothing more than saving the game, logging off, logging back on. But the thing you're not seeing here is at level 3 and 4, because we got a massive jump from level 2 spells to level 4 or 5 spells, like instantaneously, by getting those 3 levels of Angel Mythic Path and merging spellbooks immediately. It actually kept me from getting my Cleric spells at levels 3 and 4. Again, I would assume since they're here now, that again, saving the game, logging off, logging back on, could have solved that problem. But at the time, I was freaking out. I'm like, where the fuck are my spells? Well, the whole point of me doing this was to get those spells. Where the hell are my spells? And it also did the same issue when we went, because I did a separate build where I did Oracle, what's the other one? Sorcerer, Imperial Sorcerer. Just for, or not even Imperial Sorcerer, because Oracle's Charisma, and I did an Oracle Sorcerer build. And it still had the same issue. And I felt like I was missing out on spell picks as I was leveling up for the Sorcerer side of things. And again, I didn't confirm that, but it still felt wrong. It's another reason for me wanting to go Wizard, because again, I can scribe anything to my book, and 1 through 9, and boom, I have every spell again. So know that there is some issues with it and some problems with this build right off the bat. The other thing, though, to talk about is what kind of character are you going to play? Again, alignment, that's kind of on you. Lawful Good is probably the most common choice, since you're going to get a lot of Cleric spells, and a lot of them are based on you being good. One in particular being pretty awesome if you're Lawful Good, but really not necessary. I mean, it's a good spell, don't kid yourself, but it's one of those spells where you're just like, yeah, I can do without it. I mean, it's not amazing, it's not horrible, but it's one of those spells that's just like, if you're not going to be a melee or someone with a high strength stat, more likely than not, it's a terrible spell for you to activate. It gives you some armor and some persuasion bonuses and blah, blah, blah. But by and large, it was the strength bonus, the sacred strength bonus, no less. And that's a separate category of strength that we don't normally get on these builds. The spell I'm talking about, by the way, is called Eagle Soul. Feel free to look into it. But the point is you could have gone any number of ways on this. Again, Angel Mythic Path, you're probably going to be good or lawful or both. So it thematically makes sense. The specific type of deity I picked for you, because again, you are a cleric, you have to pick a deity. I picked Nethys, the one that's got the two-faced mask, because he's the only deity of magic that makes a lot of sense. And again, being a two-faced bastard like he is, being a Mystic Theurge where you're half wizard, half cleric, kind of fits thematically too. And you're all about magic, which he is too, so kind of made sense. And from there, I've limited my choices then as a result of the alignments that I could be. Again, all deities will do that for you. And the fact that I do have to then limit my domain picks. You notice that I went with knowledge and I went with rune domain. And again, why those two? one, the deity kind of limits my choices, but B, you should always look at what you get for your level 1 ability, because remember, you're never really going to get level 8 unless you go weird. Like, again, like not going all 10 levels of Mystic Theurge. So, level 1, what we have available to us. Notice that we have a Void Form. It's decent, little armor bonus to you. You literally get to activate it at a time. Notice how you're immune to critical hits. This isn't going to last a long amount of time, because it says it works for a number of rounds per day equal to your level in the class that gave you this domain. Well, literally, we're level 3. You got 3 rounds of being immune to critical hits a day, and that's it. That's lame sauce. But I tell you what, at the beginning of a fight, and it's a really tough fight, and you know that bastard's a crit fiend son of a bitch, this would be something that I might activate. Just give me 3 rounds of I'm not being critted. I feel pretty good about myself because of Void Form. So again, extremely beneficial. Notice we get to treat all knowledge skills as class skills. That doesn't matter because, again, we're going to dip into Wizard. So, of course, knowledge skills will be class skills. So, again, relatively useless. But for the rune domain, this is one of the reasons I like this one. This gives you, just to show it to you, these abilities right here. These 4 different runes show up. And, yeah, they get higher numbers as you go on. Because, again, I want to say it's the number per day is tied to your wisdom. I'm fairly certain. So, the number of clerics that we are, and probably the bonus that we're getting for wisdom. Yeah, so level 3 cleric plus 9 for our wisdom. Throw that together, it's a 12. So that's probably why the 12 is coming up. So the more wisdom you have, obviously the better stat that's going to be. This is decent. This is literally at level 1. If you take this at level 1, of course, which I highly recommend you start as a cleric, you have the ability to throw down something that looks like this. Basically a magical bomb. Okay? It's nothing more than a rune. Notice how we can walk all over it. It doesn't do a goddamn thing. But when the bad guys walk into the area, it's going to throw off the bomb. It's basically going to do one of the 4 elemental types of damage for free. Now, having said that, is that amazing at early levels? Yes. At later levels, beyond level 3, it's going to be straight garbage. But sometimes all you need to do is do damage. Think about those fights in Kingmaker, where all you need to do was hurt a goddamn troll. He's got to take some acid damage, he has to take some fire damage, and I can't, roll a spell that I don't have. So if I had those on autopilot, not autopilot, but like in my back pocket, waiting for me to use them, I always have a fire or an acid-based effect that I can plop down and just, you've taken damage. It's minimal damage, but if all it needs is minimal damage to kill the bastard off, you can see the appeal. And again, I kind of like setting magical traps. It feels pretty fucking cool, let's just say it. The things that you're going to hate about this build is because you're cleric, is you're going to get these, channel positive energy, or negative if you went evil, but again, as an Angel Mythic path, it makes no sense. So I just assume this is the way you're going to go. So you can hurt undead, you can AoE heal the team. Notice that because we had shit for charisma until I got a piece of gear, you're not picking the feat called Selective Channel. Yes, you can pick it now, because my charisma is high enough. You need like a charisma, I want to say a 13 to activate that thing. So you'd have to either A, invest in charisma, which I did not do, or B, find a piece of gear that allows you to have that charisma all the time. Obviously while wearing your tiara or whatever the fuck we're talking about. And hey, that's cool, but there's really no need for it for a couple reasons. One, it's kind of shit. You're not going to heal for like massive AoE amount of damage here. It literally is 1d6 at the start of it, and 2d6 at 3rd level, which is as high as you take it. Because again, you're a level 3 cleric. You may say, well, no, you're level 23. No, you're level 23 spell casting cleric. Try to keep that shit straight. This is the real problem with going Mystic Theurge, and also with the Mythic path. It just adds to the problem, in my opinion, because people are like, I'm a 23 cleric. No, you're not. You're a 23 cleric casting spells, son of a bitch, which is awesome, but that's all you got going for you. So be real clear on that. You are not a cleric level 23, or a wizard level 17 for that matter. I think probably the wizard's probably the closest one of the two. And the reason for that is wizards are just known for their spells, and that's about all they really are. So that's really the issue here. So let's actually load up the game again. I don't want to really think with that crap. So here's our Mystic Theurge. That's our guy right there. And I'll show you the build. And then, again, show you when I power level up a different build, how that glitch looks. So you can see the mistake. And you see that, again, it does persist if you save, log off, log back in. So here's our character. You started off with a strength of 8, a dex of 12, con of 14, that's a judgment call, but that's on you, and I'll explain why in a minute. Intelligence was a 16, which, again, we did not invest in. 16 is as high as I took it. We had to rely on gear. You got to get to a 19 to cast those level 9 wizard spells. Remember that. So, again, 7, 8, and 9 are out of your grasp until you start getting some gear that increases your intelligence. So, permanent increase so long as you're wearing that piece of gear. Wisdom was the stat I actually did care about, because again, I wanted level 9 cleric spells. We knew that that was going to be a thing, so we started with a wisdom of 19. And then we put 5 points in it from start to finish. So level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, all that went into wisdom. And you may say, well, is that kind of overkill? Yes and no. And I'll explain why here in a minute. But by and large, in that 24 wisdom, 28 with, of course, our Giron, gives us a lot of will, which is not something we're lacking. But also B gives us a lot of those clerical spells that we give a shit about. And it really makes the DC check of those spells still impactful. Remember, that's still key and important for you being a caster. Has nothing to do with your spell level, has everything to do with your casting stats. So again, your wizard spells are going to be subpar when it comes to the DC check, because they're working off of that +5, remember? So that's going to be kind of some garbage. But there's some really good wizard spells that can be used for buffs. There's really good wizard spells that can be used for attacks that have nothing to do with the DC check. There's spells in the wizard spell list that, again, even if they have a terrible DC check, it doesn't matter, because it's not a save or suck spell. Snowball is a fine example of one. You literally do up to 5d6 of damage. We have that, because all you have to be is a level 5 wizard. We're level 17 by the end of this build, so again, no problem there. And then, if they make the save, it still does 5d6 of damage. It has nothing to do with the damage on that save. The save is, are they staggered? They failed to save? Yes. They passed the save? No. That's it. So if the DC check on that one sucks, yeah, who really gives a shit? In the grand scheme of things, you did what you wanted to do. You did damage. And it's a no spell or resistance spell. So spell resistance doesn't matter for that one. Again, another solid spell for fighting demons or other characters that have high spell resistance, for example. And you being a subcaster, again, you are a level 17 wizard. That is impactful for your spell penetration capabilities. You straight up suck. And you will suck for the longest time as far as the wizard goes. The good news for you, though, is going to be when we talk about Cleric. Not only are you level 23 now at the end, remember, you're behind for the longest time, because you're level 3 Cleric, then with every level of Mystic Theurge, you go 4, 5, 6, up to 13. The only reason you're 23 is because of those 10 levels of Angel Mythic Path. So until you unlock Angel Mythic Path, where you get that level 3 jump, your Cleric is going to be lounging in the back compared to the Wizard for the longest time. So your caster level is going to suck, your spell pen is going to suck, and of course I think concentration is impactful there too. Yeah, it does change. See, 26 to 36. There's a definite difference there. Point is you're really going to be a terrible Cleric, quite frankly, until you unlock your Mythic Path. Once you do, man, it's gangbusters. It's like on like Donkey Kong. You're suddenly like the best fucking Cleric you've ever seen, and your Wizard is feeling like subpar as far as your spell casting. Well, the good news is remember, when you go Mystic Theurge, one of the appealing parts of this is this stuff here. Combined spells level 1, 2, or second level, third level, fourth level, and eventually fifth level. What happens is your level 1 spells from your Wizard become level 2 spells from your Cleric side of things, and vice versa. Your level 1 Cleric spells are in my spell book for my Wizard. So go to Wizard, look at level 1, notice how it's just Wizard spells, nothing different. Go to level 2 though, and look at the laundry list of spells you have access to. By the way, I've scribed, if not all the spells for my Wizard spell book, almost all. I mean, maybe there's one or two that didn't have a scroll in the game, so I may not have picked them all. But by and large, they're all here. Notice again all the Cleric stuff that's in here. You know, Bless, Bane. These are level 1 spells for the Cleric, but as a Wizard, I can cast them, and they don't have any real tie to my caster level as far as like DC check or anything like that, as far as Bless is concerned, because it's just a straight up buff. The only real limiting factor here is its duration is 1 minute per caster level. In this case, I'm caster level 17. So it's a 17-minute buff. And again, with enduring spells and greater enduring spells, which I wholeheartedly suggest you grab, this is a 24-hour day buff. Is this a great buff for that? Fuck no, it's garbage. But it's not the point. The point is there's going to be plenty of Cleric spells that transfer over to your Wizard side of things that you can totally slot up on the Wizard side and the subcaster, where you suck at them, but you don't care because it's buffs. Think of stuff like level 3. Get stuff like, where are you? Delayed Poison. Right there. Amazing spell. 17-hour up to 24-hour buff for you. And again, it doesn't matter that you're casting it from your Wizard side of things. Yeah, it's a higher spell slot, sure. But again, if you're worried about, I'm missing out on my fireball spells or my damaging blah blah whatever, the Wizard side of things isn't really going to be used for that much. The Cleric side of things, though, we can get that fireball spell over here at level 4. Boom, we got plenty of them. And again, you have a better caster level, so the chances that you have a better spell pin and concentration, all that jazz, the attack spells, in most cases are going to fall on your Cleric side. So that's the way to play this build. You start off being more Wizard than Cleric, even though you start off at level 1 as a Cleric, in my opinion, and then you get 3 levels of it and immediately switch over to Wizard, get 3 levels of it, stop. So that's 6 levels now in, and by then you've already unlocked Mythic Path. Not Angel, but at least Mythic Path. 1, maybe even 2 levels into it. So you have extra spells a day, which again is highly recommended. And then you just go from there with your Mystic Theurge and just increase both of the levels from 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 all to 13. And since you're going to unlock in that path, the Mythic Angel path, and merge spellbooks with the Cleric will rapidly overshadow the Wizard. Then, at the very end of the build, because remember, it's going to be 3 levels of Cleric, 3 levels of Wizard, 10 levels of Mystic Theurge. That leaves, again, 4 levels left to do with what you choose. Again, going back into Wizard. So you can finally, at the end of the game, unlock that level 9 Wizard spell list. Right? That's the goal here. I think that you will enjoy that. Note that, again, we are Intelligence of 16, or Wisdom of 19 to 24, and again, Charisma at a straight up 10. I said I'd come back to say, why Con and not Dex? Notice that Con's getting a buff because of our racial background. The type of build you wanted was an Asymmer build. I went with Lawbringer because I didn't really think I wanted a Dex Wisdom build. I was looking for something that was going to be Intelligence Wisdom, and I didn't see it. Maybe I missed it, and I just wasn't paying attention. But instead, I went for Lawbringer, one that's a Con Wisdom. And the reasoning behind all this is this. What kind of character are you going to play? I would assume anyone that's playing a Mystic Theurge, especially when someone suggests that they want to be an Ecclesitheurge, which is a special type of cleric that's issuing all armor, very limited in their ability to use weapons, and by and large going to be a blaster caster. Whether it's a buff bot and then use your attack spells, whatever. The fact that we have both Wizard and Cleric spells to pick from as a result of all this, and going to pump those up really, really high, I'd assume you're just going to be relying on your spells for your damage and your buffs. As such, there's no real need for you to go like crazy into dexterity, like 16 levels, or level 16 dexterity. It'd be nice, sure, but it's not necessary. 14 could be serviceable. I went with 12 just so I didn't have that much of a penalty, and I appreciate the little extra armor early on, and we probably will be attacking with ray spells and shit that's going to need, like a crossbow or whatever, so you will have a check to hit a target. But let's just say you're probably not using weapons. If you are, it's because your cantrips are doing shit, all the damage, and you had run out of spells. So you went back to a decent crossbow that someone just gives you a magical crossbow, or you make it a magic crossbow and go from there. So that +1 is kind of shit, but in the grand scheme of things, this is really not your forte. You're not to be in the front ranks. So that's why we went more on Con, and the fact that, again, we got 2 points extra of Con because of the type of Asymmer we are. The reason that you want to be that type of Asymmer, by the way, let's see if I can find it. Racial bonus to Con and Wisdom that we cared about. Racial bonus on Persuasion and Perception checks, 2 things we give a rat's ass about. Perception always going up. That's, again, Wisdom based. That's awesome for you. You'll have one of the best perceptions in the game. Not the best, but again, pretty damn high. And Persuasion, again, something that's Charisma based that we're not good at, but again, we'll appreciate that. And again, notice how it's literally Persuasion bonuses, period. Doesn't say Persuasion only if it's to Intimidate, or only if it's to Bluff, or only if it's to do Diplomacy checks. It's Persuasion flat out. So these are solid buffs right here. And then we get a 1 spell a day like all Asymmer and, of course, Tieflings do as well. In this case, ours is whole person spell once a day. Not an amazing spell, but again, at the early levels, that's a nice, fucking lock that guy down. And again, may work, may not, as far as, DC check and all that fun shit. But by and large, a free spell is a free spell, and you'll happily take that. So again, a solid upgrade in my opinion. From there, we should talk about feats. Notice, again, we started off with Cleric, the Ecclesitheurge specifically. Pick your deity and all that jazz. Pick whether you're going to be a healer type or a damaging type. Again, I obviously, since you're going Angel, I suggested a positive energy channeler. Notice that your domains are going to be kind of important. Again, as we talked about, focus on the things that are going to happen at level 1. The shit that you get here, because again, you're never really going to unlock that level 8 shit. Notice some dumb luck here, and I didn't even realize this until after I loaded up the game today. We actually got a bonded holy symbol. This allows us to recall any 1 cleric spell. Remember, our cleric spell list, once we start dipping into Mystic Theurge, many of our spells include wizard spells now. So if you have a wizard spell that's in your cleric spell book, that you're like, oh, I really need another fireball. My wizard spells are tapped out. I have no more fireball spells. Oh, same with my cleric side, which again would be level 4 instead of level 3. Boo. Oh, but I have the bonded holy symbol. I can recall it. Poof. I got me a fireball spell back. And again, we have a mirroring one over here, the arcane bond, a level 1 wizard, no less. So again, we have 2 different bonds, if you will, to resummon back spells. So that's 2 free spells a day. And remember, since you're a prepared caster, which means you need to say, oh, I need to be have a fireball in my spell book. If I forgot to pack my fireball spell today, I can delete a spell, which would be a bad idea, but you could delete a spell that's already been used at level 3 or level 4 for the cleric, put in Fireball, and then click it, and you'd have it back. That's fucking awesome. That, again, literally is like the MacGyver build like crazy, because you have 2 different ways of doing that. One for your wizard side of things and one for your cleric side of things. That's fucking tits. So I could see the appeal for this being very, very fun. From there, notice again, we went Universalist instead of a specialty school, because I hate being penalized by that shit, and it gets fiddly real quick. The Universalist, for those of you who don't know, you don't get any free spells a day based on what school you're focused on, because you didn't focus on any. But you also don't have 2 schools that are penalty schools where you literally have to slot it up twice to use it once. And fuck that shit. That's just not worth it. The good news is that doesn't seem to be a problem from when you cast it from your cleric side of things. So like let's say you didn't have, let's give a spell school, necromancy. So maybe you didn't have, say, Ray of Enfeeblement slotted in your wizard side of things, because again, it would take 2 spell slots for level 1 spell just to cast it. But again, you have access to it, and therefore your cleric, once you get to level 2 casting, and thanks to Mystic Theurge, this right here, right at level 1, your level 2 spell slots for your cleric side of things will have it there, and it will not cost you 2 slots to cast it, because cleric don't give a fuck about where your specialty school was. You don't get free spells based on that either. So the cleric side of things is just going to be like, can I cast it? Yes. Now you have access to it. So there is that. But again, I didn't think that it was something that you wanted to quibble about. And again, I'm happy just being a generic universalist, because again, another thing about the specialty school is, besides the free spell at every level 1 through 9, which would be awesome, you also have the bonuses that are like stuff that you're seeing down here. And again, since we're only going to go 7 levels in, there's not a whole lot of bonuses for any of the schools that spoke to me as like, wow, I really needed that. Like, the possible exception to that would be maybe Conjuration. And the reasoning beyond that is because when we start looking at our feat picks, you'll see that we went a little heavy on the Conjurer side of things, and I'll explain why here in a bit. So go 3 levels of Ecclesitheurge, pick your deity and all that fun jazz, and then you're going to go 3 levels of Wizard. By the time that that's done, you should have already unlocked Mystic rank 1, if not 2. From there, what are you going to do? You're going to go into your Mystic Theurge, and again, you need to unlock it. So how do you unlock it? Well, you need to be a level 2 caster for Arcane, covered by being 3 levels of Wizard. You need to be level 2 casting of spells from the domain, the divine side of things. So again, level 3 Ecclesitheurge or Cleric covers that problem. Another reason that we like the odd ones, because level 3 versus, say, like a Sorcerer or an Oracle would have to get to 4 levels in. So again, delaying you even more unlocking Mystic Theurge, which straight up sucks. So we can start Mystic Theurge as fast as possible doing it this way. Notice that once you start unlocking that, that's again where we're going to start dipping into our Angel Mythic path. Remember, it will give you the choice. Do you want to have its own spell book, which is a terrible idea, or merging the spell book with your cleric side of things, which is the way to go here, so that again you're driving that cleric levels high, and that's going to be fun. That's going to be awesome, and you're going to just skyrocket from there. It makes the Mystic Theurge build infinitely better, in my opinion, when you can merge a spell book. Again, I still maintain that Lich would have been better. I'm not going to tell you how to play your game. I'm just saying that that's how I would have done it, and I probably still would have been a 3-7 split, but instead of being 7 Wizard, 3 Ecclesitheurge, I'd be 3 Wizard, 7 Ecclesitheurge. So again, I could still finish with level 9 spells from both spell books would be my goal. For feats, notice once you unlock Wizard, you get a free feat. We want combat casting. These are going to be spell-oriented feats. Again, there's a possible selection list right here just to give you an idea. So your meta magics are up in here, your elemental focus, your spell focus, your spell specialization, your spell pen, greater spell pen, combat casting, augment summoning, and superior summoning. All this shit that's basically associated with being a caster is here free. You get 2 of them, no less, by the end of the build. Yes, this is going to be extremely late, but again, can't be helped. Solid choices here. Again, I prefer combat casting because, again, concentration checks suck. Your con is another reason to have that higher. Again, another reason I like that. And again, extra HP. Who doesn't like to be a wizard that can take a beating? So a solid choice here. This really helps you a lot, in my opinion, because, again, if you get interrupted while casting those spells and then you lose the spell, you've just wasted your turn, and you literally did nothing more than get smacked in the snoot, and then you literally just didn't do anything in your turn. Because fuck that. And I think that it costs you to lose the spell, which would straight up suck. So that could be a concern, hence combat casting early. Notice at the very end of the build, remember these last 3 or 4 levels of Wizard, here, and here, are levels technically 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so that literally is going to be 17, 18, level 18 before you get greater spell pen. And again, these things can be shuffled around to suit your needs, but by and large, know that these have to be from a very limited list. So again, I put stuff in the list that either A, I needed early, which I got, or could wait to be late, which is what I grabbed this one. Up here is where we really start to see the things kind of flesh out. What do we mean? We have point blank shot, and we have precise shot. And you may say, well, your dex is shit, brother. I mean, why the hell are you even focusing on these two things? Two reasons. One, you are a blaster caster par excellence, wizard and cleric, merge spell books and everything besides. You're going to have ray spells. So why not be good at those ray spells, in my opinion? It's a point blank shot, precise shot. And again, you will have to default to a weapon at some point, especially early levels. So point blank shot and then eventually precise shot at level 3 is solid choices. Notice we don't get rapid shot, deadly aim, or any of that weird shit, because again, weapon use is not your forte. Your dex sucks. Yeah, we have a variety of ways to buff ourselves up, with spells, especially from the cleric side of things, to make sure that we hit our target better. Divine favor, divine power, just to name a couple. Bless, I could throw in there as well. Solid choices, but again, it's really not your thing, man. Yeah, you could buff up and be a respectable attacker at that point, but again, in the end of the game, you're still only swinging like a couple of times. Is it really worth it? To me, no. So what do we focus on? Casting. If it's not about casting, it's about protection, or it's about using your spells to better effect. Hence, point blank shot, precise shot. From there, notice we have spell focus conjuration, augment summoning, superior summoning. So you're seeing a theme here. You're going to be a summoner, and the reasoning beyond that is until you unlock those spells with your wizard side of things. Remember, clerics have access to summon monster 1 through 9 as they level up, and to summon elemental spells as well. Free of charge, and once they reach the appropriate levels, poof, your cleric has the ability to summon pets. So again, pretty cool to get them a solid buff to their strength and con right off the bat. And then of course, the more you summon, the more you summon. So you can see the appeal here. Why do I care about that? It's not that I care about it so much as it was already there and waiting for us, because this was something that was going to be a thing. And you may say, well, why do we care then about spell focus conjuration? So let's have this hard conversation now about this school of choice. Know that there's spell focuses that work for cleric spells too. So various schools of magic, even though you're a divine caster, it's still a school of magic. So some are evocation, some are divination, again, conjuration, abjuration, etc. and so forth. Why conjuration? Well, conjuration falls under a very cool category. Almost, if not all of your heal spells, not all, I'm fairly certain, like 90% of them are conjuration spells. Think of your cure light spells and spells like that. Even heal, I believe, is a conjuration spell. So again, you may say, well, who cares? You care, because if you're using the spell to damage an undead, remember that's a DC check. That's a saving throw associated, like a will save, I believe, to make sure that they take half damage from your attack. So spell focus conjuration pushes it up a little bit. And again, sure enough, before the end of the build, you're going to see that we're going to get greater spell focus conjuration as well. So a +1, then eventually a +2. And remember, your wizard levels kind of suck because of this terrible intelligence, but your cleric spells, whether they're wizard spells cast from your cleric spellbook, will benefit from that high DC check. And again, there are wizard spells that are going to be conjuration spells that we do want to bolster. Again, why? Why do we care beyond the healing spells? Well, A, like I said, summoning spells, augment summoning, superior summoning, required to get spell focus conjuration. That's not the reason. The other reason is many, if not most, I'd say, of the spells that have no spell resistance are conjuration spells. Think of your snowball spell, level 1 wizard spell. Amazing spell. It's a conjuration spell that does 5d6 of damage, best case scenario. Crits, of course, you can do 10d6, I suppose. There is that. There's a saving throw, and again, the saving throw has nothing to do with the damage. Are they staggered? Are they not? Again, I don't particularly care about that part. But there's other spells that, again, fall under this category where, again, spell focus conjuration and greater spell focus conjuration. So they're less likely to make their save and take, therefore, probably full damage. Think of like a acidic spray or caustic eruption. Caustic eruption would be one of those two that I care more about. Why? Because while, again, they're both conjuration spells and they both have saving throws, acidic spray, weirdly, has spell resistance. Caustic eruption, a level 7 wizard spell, if I'm not mistaken, does not. Right here. Yeah, no spell resistance. Massive damage, huge amount of damage. And yes, caster level 17, so you're not going to get that pretty 20d6. But again, that's still solid. 17d6 of damage and a solid buff to your saving throw. And again, no spell resistance, so they're really going to get hit. this is a decent type of rationale for why you want to focus in a specific school of focus, in my opinion. So that's why we went with Conjuration. And again, it just kind of fed itself at that point with Augment Summoning, Superior Summoning, again, Greater Spell Focus, Conjuration. You become really good at that. Other spells, just to beat a dead horse here, some other spells that are of value, that are Conjuration, Grease Spell, no spell resistance, Snowball, no spell resistance, is it Web Spell Conjuration? Yes, it is. Conjuration spell, no spell resistance. Again, you see we're building to a pattern here. Level 4, I should also point out another Conjuration spell with no DC check, so it doesn't matter, but still no spell resistance for Acid Arrow, another Conjuration spell. Again, Acid being another common theme here for damaging spells that, again, spell resistance is not an issue. All your summoning pit spells, like your Create Pit, Spike Pit, Acid Pit, all those things, no spell resistance. Conjuration spells again. Again, you're seeing my theme here. Again, we have the Inflict Moderate spells. This one says it's affected by target spell resistance, but on the Cleric side, it's not. I'm not sure why that is, so just go here, level 1. Look, Inflict Light, now affected by target spell resistance. Maybe it's because it's on the Wizard side of things. But the Cure Light spells, again, also not affected by target spell resistance, and again, a whole set of Conjuration spells. So you see that? Other stuff in the Wizards that stood out as being awesome because of no spell resistance. Let's see if I can find you some more. Level 4 has things like Acid Pit, which is an amazing spell, but also, where's the Obsidian Flow? Oh, it's a Transmutation spell. Boo. I'll say so with the other one. Tar Pool. Just to point out those other spells, though, and the reasoning beyond those, while we don't have any real buff to them, they're definitely worth mentioning because, again, no spell resistance. Big key factor here for fucking up some bad guys. So, again, these would be kind of your bread and butter. If you were going to be, again, a spontaneous caster, like the type of sorcerer, was it the Imperial Sorcerer that you guys suggested in the first place, I would go through this list that I have here for you today, 1 through 9 of the Wizard spells, so it gives you a good feel for what most, if not all, the Sorcerer spells would be as well, and then go through that list and say, I must have that spell, I must have this spell would have to make the cut. And remember some other things about merging your spell books. Remember, like I said, level 2 Wizard spells, you'll see Cleric spells, right? These are level 1 Cleric spells as level 2 Wizard, and vice versa. You'll see at level 2 Wizard spells that are level 1 in the level 2 Cleric spellbook, like Burning Hands, Corrosive Touch. Why does this matter? It doesn't work all the time, and here's why. If the spell is a spell both classes have access to, like, let's say Animate Dead is a fine example. Let's see, Clerics get it at level 3. Wizards, I think, can pick it up at level 4. Again, the only reason I have it is because I scribed it. If you don't pick this as a Sorcerer, you will not get this free over here because the Cleric side had it. Because the Wizard could have had it too. So you have to pick it. Same with like Bone Shaker and Bone Shatter. Spells that both schools or both classes would have access to. So again, if you want them on both sides of your spell books, like the Wizard has it and the Cleric has it, or the Sorcerer has it and the Oracle has it, you must pick them. Okay, you can't just pick them on one and assume that it'll be on the other guy's spell book. It will not work that way. Only unique spells. Ones that, again, the Wizard has access to. Here's one at level 4. The Cleric has access to it at level 5. Why? Because, again, he would normally not have access to it. But because of Mystic Theurge, level 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to say 5 spells get transferred into level 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 spells. So again, this would be when it finally stops. You'll see, again, Wizard spells here in my level 6 stuff for Cleric. At level 7, it's back to being nothing but Cleric. Same with Wizard. Once I get to level 6, you see that, again, I still have clerical spells in here, like, Cure Spell, Mass Cure Light Wounds. So again, you see we're clearly dipping from the Cleric side of things. Level 7, all Wizard, baby. So 7, 8, and 9 are going to be just Wizard. 7, 8, and 9 are going to be just Cleric. And again, solid stuff in here. Plenty of things to work with. It's not that you're hindered in any way, shape, or form as far as I'm concerned. What else do we have for the build? Beyond the spell-focused Conjuration in your summons, and you may say, well, is that going to be good enough? And again, this is not a solo build. This is going to be a build that's team support early, and then Blaster Caster like fucking no one's business by the end. I'd say, honestly, by the time you get to level 8, I'd say you're going to be all in on being a spellcasting son of a bitch. You'll have a decent buff to your summons, and you just got to go from there. From there, though, again, we had, like I said, Superior Summoning, Greater Spell Focused Conjuration, Meta Magic Extend. This was just a pick to buff our spells so we can get to double the duration. So remember, if we're looking at our spell book, 23 is our Cleric level, 17 is our Wizard level. Double this. And that's what Extend gives you. So if it's 1 minute per caster level, Cleric, 23 minutes now becomes 46. 17 minutes becomes, for a wizard, becomes, what is it, 34? That's decent. The downside is that I didn't get what I was hoping for. I was hoping to get to Cleric level 25. And I could do that. To do that, I would have to lose out on 2 wizard levels, which means I don't get to level 9 wizard spells and we only level 8. Why might you do that? Well, here's the reason. Well, one, if we do, instead of a 3-7 split, it'd be a 5-5 split. Notice that, again, some milestones show up at, like, level 5s. Not necessarily for Cleric, or for the Ecclesitheurge, but it's possible that there would be a different type of Cleric build that you could have gone with, where at level 5 they give you like a free feat, kind of like that the Wizard does. So some stuff likes to show up at level 5. It seems to be like a milestone, because it's 5, 10, 15, 20, right? So that's a possibility. But the other reason is because it gives us casting earlier. I don't care about that. That has nothing to do with it. It gives us 2 more levels of Cleric. So by the end of the build, you'd be a 25 Cleric and a 15 Wizard. That 25 Cleric, if you double the duration of those spells, that becomes 50, right? 50, what, minutes, hours, rounds? 50 rounds, for those of you that don't know, is the equivalent of 5 minutes. Thanks to things like, I need to go Mystic Path, things like, did I not pick it? Or did I pick it over here? Where you at? Yeah, greater enduring spells. Thanks to things like greater enduring spells, any buff that's 5 minutes or longer becomes a 24-hour buff. So think of your spells that you might cast from the Cleric side of things, where again, it would only be 1 round per caster level. That's going to be key and important. Let's see if I can find you a couple. How about stuff like, no, it's a minute. Oh, where are you at? Where are you at? Like your summons, 1 round per level. Remember, 25 levels. Double it thanks to extend meta magic, and now suddenly it's 5 minute buff for this spell being out, and this works on these guys. 24-hour pet. Other stuff, the fact that we're tapping into our wizard spell list is of value. Again, Animate Dead, another one that, again, 1 round per level, 25 rounds. Double would be 50 rounds, that's 5 minutes. Thanks to the greater enduring spells, that's a 24-hour bunch of skeletons running around with you all the fucking time. Obviously, they don't zone well, but that's a thing. Notice it doesn't work on spells that you place on the ground, though, like Create Pit, Stinking Cloud, stuff that's like placeables, is the way I think of them. It doesn't seem to work on them. The Extend Meta Magic might, but the greater enduring spells does not. They don't like to persist. And that could be a glitch, that might be a bug report that should be submitted, but again, not the biggest problem in the world. But let's give you another really good spell that might be of value to you. How about something like Displacement? Again, we have it on both spell books. Yes, it's pricier in that a wizard would cast it at level 3. You could cast it as level 4 cleric, but if it's a 25 level cleric that's extended it, that could be literally a 24-hour buff for you or a teammate. You can see the appeal. We get to level 5. You also have access to Greater Invis. Again, came from the wizard side of things, but so what? Again, 25 level cleric, doubling the duration on that. That could be 5 minutes, and therefore could be 24-hour buff for you, your teammate, whoever. You see the appeal. That's the reason that you might want to go further into cleric. As far as other stuff, though, in the class, things like over here we grabbed wings late. Could have grabbed that as soon as level 10. Obviously level 11 would have been probably as soon as we could have grabbed it officially. But this is, again, because you're an Asymer. Bonus to dodge, I always appreciate. And while it says against melee attacks, and that is true, and you may say, well, who gives a shit about that? You're not supposed to be melee. You told me not to melee. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the enemies are going to oblige you. So this is still solid protection. And you will buff up. You will cast all kinds of spells on you for shield, shield of faith, mage armor, just to name 3. And that's solid protection right there. So again, you can, I don't want to say tank, but you can be in the front a little bit and not worry so much about being smacked around at a certain point. So that's of value. But the other real selling point here is this part here. Immunity to ground-based effects such as difficult terrain. Notice how it just says such as. That doesn't mean that's the only thing it makes you immune to then. Well, what other things might it make you immune to? Well, once you have wings and you have to toggle them on, which means you just leave them on all the time, in my opinion. Spells like Grease, that's a ground-based effect. Spells like Web, that's a ground-based effect. You see the importance. The downside is it spells like, where are you at, little bastard? Obsidian Flow is a ground-based effect, but the initial spike of it, the initial damage, same with the Web spell, If you're in the effect when it gets cast, you will be under the effect of the spell. At least you have to make the saving throw or whatever to avoid the damage, to avoid being caught in the web. If the spell's already on the ground, which means I cast it in front of my feet, and then I choose to walk over it, it won't affect you now because you have your wings on. You're flying over, even though there's no animation for that shit. So Obsidian Flow, another one that I talked about a little bit ago. Tar Pool, another one, again, that don't be in the area of effect when you cast it. But once you cast it, it's on the ground. It also serves the dual purpose of slowing people down. Tar Pool's an exception to the rule. Wings will protect you from the slowing effect, the difficult terrain of it. People that walk into it, you'll immediately see them go, ooh, because they're slowed down because of the difficult terrain. You don't have that problem with your wings on. What you do have, though, is constant damage. Tar Pool is one of those spells that persists in that it's a massive spike of damage at the first casting of it, whoever's in the area of effect. Saving throw, of course, appropriate. Then, every round you're in the area of effect, you take more damage. Just a minor amount. It's like 2d6, but it's still there. That would still apply to you with your wings. That sucks. And I think that's a mistake, quite frankly, but it's not something I care to bug report because it happened in Kingmaker 2 and I'm just used to it. But and I don't mind that being a problem, and the reason I don't mind that being a problem that I'm not submitting a bug report is you got to figure this is radiating heat. So just because you have wings and you're flitting above it doesn't mean you're not affected by the heat. So I'm okay with that. Heat rises after all. So I'm fine with that being a limitation on that. But what it does do allows you to skitter in and out of that fucking tar pool at super speed with your wings on, and you can just whoop from one side to the other, let bad guys chase you into the tar pool because the AI is stupid in this game, and they'll run right after you and go into that tar pool and start burning their asses for 2d6 of damage every fucking round. By the time it's my turn again, I'll be on the other side of the tar pool, not taking any damage, turn and blasting the shit out of the motherfuckers that are herky-jerky moving super slow through the tar pool. So again, you can see the appeal here. So again, there's some serious fun to be had here, thanks to nothing more than you having wings. And there is no spell that I'm aware of, anyway, that gives you wings. Modders gave us that back in Kingmaker. Thank you, modders. Hope they do the same for this game, but you can't rely on that shit. And I do like just having it. And fuck it, let's just say it. You got a fucking Halo. You're going to have two Halos. You're going to get your Aasimar Halo, which is still of value. And then you're going to get your Angel Mythic Path Halo, which is even better. And that's the one you definitely want on. And then you're going to have wings besides. Fucking looks sweet, man. You're total Battle Angel Alita over here. Total rocking it. Then notice we have Spell Pen, very late, level 19. I don't know why it doesn't show what we picked, but again, if we go to abilities, we can probably find out. Wing Spell Pen, Greater Spell Pen, looks like. It seems weird that it's not showing up, though. Why is that not showing up there? Because Greater Spell Pen is right here. Yeah, so we're missing something. I wonder what that thing was. It's not, and like I said, it may be Greater Spell Pen, but it's not, because here's where Greater Spell Pen showed up. So it should be on this list after Greater Spell Pen, and we didn't get it. Greater Spell Focus Conjuration, we already saw that. I'm just looking through the list to see if there's something that's missing. Scribe Scrolls was free, I believe, for being a wizard. I'm missing a feat. And it's not Armor Proficiency. We got that for the type of background that we picked, which again is nothing that you really needed to know about. Because again, armor would be a bad idea for you. I just took it because it gave us like proficiency with like bows and some shit. Yeah, I'm missing something. That's weird. That's clearly a glitch. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about our Mythic Path, because this is going to be the big crux of your build, I'd say. Again, you said Angel. I went close to Heaven just for an obvious choice. And again, free race spell that can either A, heal, or B, damage. And again, your dexterity is not great, but remember, that's a ranged touch attack. It's another reason why I don't mind my dexterity being kind of subpar. And again, we have plenty of ways to buff your attack bonus, so I'm not worried remotely that you will hit things. So that's fine. The Close to Heaven makes sense in abundant casting, because, doy, you got two fucking spell books that are going to go all the way up to level 9, both of them. Why wouldn't you want an extra free, is it 12, 24 spells every time you grab this feat? So this one, that one's another free 24 spells. This one's another free 24 spells a day. Yeah, that's a shit ton of fucking spells right there, son. Just saying, that's some fun to be had here. I'm going to go, not in order, I'm just going to go down the list just to kind of show you some stuff. So notice, whenever you're close to Heavens, you get Heaven's Breath, a little bonus beside for being heavenly, so to speak, so a little more resistant to acid and cold, and immunity to petrification, which you'll appreciate. Notice that we get, of course, our Sword of Heaven, and we'll get upgrades for that. Notice that we get upgrades to our Halo, because you get an Angelic Halo, which is pretty badass, which is some free fucking armor for you and your team. That's awesome. And saving throws besides. Piercing Rays, this is the one I always pick, because again, penalty to the spell resistance is just like saying spell pen for me and my team. That's pretty nice. And the penalty to their saving throws as well. So again, you're a caster. Why wouldn't you want to penalize the bad guys for their saving throws? There's another way to make you viable. Notice your Unfailing Beacon over here. Again, this is the one where you don't take any damage if people are casting their spells into your area of effect. So if you just happen to be caught in the back ranks, surrounded by bad guys, and the wizard or cleric on the party that's not you says, hey, oh shit, you're in trouble, well, I could damage you and them at the same time with a fireball spell. No, you can't, because I got an Unfailing Beacon. I should be immune to your spell. Feel free to unleash on these fuckers and get them off me. You can see the appeal. And also a bonus to empowering the spell, as well as DC check of the spell going up, blah, blah, blah. And again, never tested that shit, so if that works like it should, that's going to be amazing. Notice that we have another bonus to your aura. Your Halo, if you will, gets even better. From there, your Sword Heaven upgrades, just to point out that we got Everlasting Flame as soon as possible. 1 minute per mythic rank buff, which is awesome. Which, by the way, Sword of Heaven does a variety of things. Extra damage with your attacks, extra damage with your spells, extra healing with your spells. You can see the appeal. Having that last longer, 1 minute to 4 minutes to 10 minutes by the end of the build. Actually 24 hours, thanks to greater enduring spells, which is a nice little glitch that I found the other day and reported on. Hopefully no one bug reported that shit, because that's pretty badass. But that's nice. Grand Blessing, amazing upgrade where you literally maximize the damage and healing of the bonus. Just be real clear, we're not getting like 10d6 becoming 60. We're getting 10d6 plus 2d6. The 2d6 now becomes 12, guaranteed. So it's just a solid maximum bump to your healing and your damage of your spells, which again, I would assume you would appreciate. Speed of Light, again, once you activate the Sword of Heaven, which like I said, can be activated multiple times. Well, I didn't say, but I can say it now. It can be activated multiple times a day, but thanks to Everlasting Flame, once you get to level 5, actually level 6, once you get that greater enduring spells, becomes a 24-hour buff. Again, multiple times you can cast that, so if it gets stripped off you for whatever fucking reason, just reapply it, boom, you're back to being buffed like crazy. And then here, Speed of Light gives you the effect of haste on your character permanently then for 24 goddamn hours. That's an amazing upgrade. But even better than that, you get 2 additional attacks. So again, while we say you're not really good at attacking with your crossbow or whatever, this actually makes it a lot more valuable. And I kind of forget about that. And this Quicken Spell feat ability doesn't work currently, so that should be bug reported, in my opinion. But notice that this allows you to cast any spells level 7 or lower as if they're quickened. Now you've got all kinds of fucking spells level 7 or lower. So certainly if this part were working as intended for 24 hours a day, you become a blaster caster like no one's fucking business. Bestow the Divine, I just picked something because I just couldn't think of what else I cared about at that point. And I figured, fuck it, I'm not really good at weapons. Why not be able to imbue others' weapons on my team? Let them be badasses. So sounded like a good idea to me. Mythic feats and stuff that we see over here versus, or sorry, mythic abilities versus mythic feats over here. Notice that we got something that didn't register, but we got greater enduring spells, which means I probably grabbed enduring spells here or here. Expanded Arsenal, Magic School of Illusion. We had enough illusion spells as a wizard that I gave a shit about, that I'm like, all that spell focus conjuration and greater spell focus conjuration that we got applies now to illusion. So basically I got free spell focus illusion, greater spell focus illusion by picking this one thing. Not one feat, one very precious mythic feat or mythic ability, whatever the hell these are. I know it says mythic feat here, but notice it says it over here as well. One of these is mythic abilities, one of these is mythic feats. And again, I always get them confused. But that's amazing in my opinion. Again, it didn't have to be illusion, it could have been necromancy, because again, there's a lot of good necromancy spells on both the wizard and the cleric side of things. But again, you're an angel, kind of makes weird sense for you to be a necromancy specialist. Notice I got Spell Pen Mythic, of course, at the very end. That's probably a bad idea, but again, I stand by it because other stuff was more important. But what does this give you? This literally, if you have Spell Pen, which we have both Spell Pen and Greater Spell Pen by the end of the build, we can add half our mythic rank to caster level checks for spell penetration, which means that suddenly being a terrible caster, subpar wizard, for example, level 17, your Spell Pen sucks. With Spell Pen, it's +2, but you still suck because 17 plus 2 is 19. You're still not level 20. 20 is the goal minimum, in my opinion, to even feel like a normal wizard. Well, you're not there yet. With this, we can add half of our ranks, so up to 10 would be 5, if you only had Spell Pen, We have both Spell Pen and Greater Spell Pen. If you have both of them, we can add our full Mythic rank. So not only do I have a +2 thanks to Spell Pen, and another +2 thanks to Greater Spell Pen, I have another +10 thanks to this guy by the end of the build. So you have a +14 to your spell penetrations. So that 17 Wizard for Spell Pen, effectively you add your 17 to the 14 I just said, and you would actually be a 31 for your Spell Pen check. And of course you still roll 1d20, and again they could have spell resistance up to yin yang, but this is looking better now that you're likely to penetrate that shit. So less reliant on those no spell resistance spells. Remember, snowball or acid pits, etc. and so forth. Over here, of course, we got our summons. We're not going to talk about those because those are routinely broken in that they don't summon the right thing usually, and you can't really math out how good those are. I'm assuming they're going to be great, but again, you are a summoner anyway, so this, all that buffs that you get, this could be really, really good. Notice that we have abundant casting, improved abundant casting, and greater abundant casting at various times. No real rhyme or reason about this other than to push it back until you start unlocking level 7, 8, and 9 spells. There's really no point in grabbing this one. But these first two, you want those reasonably soon. This one certainly as soon as possible, because that's, like I said, an extra 24 fucking spells for you. As long as you can cast level 3 spells as a wizard and level 3 spells as a cleric, you just added 12 spells to each spell book, 4 at each level. Level 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. That's a lot of spells. Again, another mythic feat that didn't register. Again, one of them has to be enduring spells. Something's missing. I'll have to figure out what it is here in a second. Boundless Healing. Got that one reasonably early. Again, once we unlock the level 3, which would be, of course, when you become an Angel official, I decided, fuck it, it's time to be a really good healer. What this does is, again, it removes, it does two things. One that's broken and one that works. It removes the cap. So you're no longer affected by common limitations. What does that mean? A spell that does 1d8 of healing, +1 per caster level, is a Cure Light Wound spell. That +1 per caster level caps out normally at level 5. So once you're a level 5 cleric, technically speaking, as far as casting is concerned, and higher, it will only heal 1d8 +5. This removes that block. So if I can do 1d8 plus whatever cleric level am I? What level am I? 20 fucking 3. So a Cure Light Wound spell, a level 1 spell, can heal for me once I get that thing by the end of the build, I should say. I can heal 1d8 plus 23 from a level 1 spell. So the minimum healing, if I roll a 1, is healing for 20 fucking 4. That's not bad. That's real good, in fact. And again, I thought you'd appreciate that. Notice something else that's broken, but would be awesome, especially for the type of build you are, because again, you're all about distance, and melee touch attacks, while you still have a pretty good chance of landing them, because they're touch attacks proper, your strength sucks. We do not have weapon finesse. This means you'll be using that -1 for your check to walk over and touch on someone on the fucking shoulder and hit them with a melee touch attack, like your cure spells if you're trying to damage the undead. Well, if you have Boundless Healing and this works, which it doesn't, it should automatically make the spell a reach spell. What does that mean? That means you can shoot it like a ray, like a ranged touch attack, up to 30 feet. So all your healing spells should do that, or cure wound spells, I should say. I think it even works than that, or should work for heal, even though it's not a cure wounds spell. It says or another healing spell. So again, any spell that would normally be like a walkover touch attack, boop, is now can be shot at 30 feet. So you can heal teammates from a distance, awesome, and damage undead from a distance with said spell. Again, awesome, but it's broken, doesn't work right now. So again, bug report. Certainly someone's going to report that shit. Notice we have also got Archmage Armor at the very end-ish of the build. That's probably a bad idea. Probably should be pushed sooner. But with you not wearing anything other than goddamn robes, again, because of the Ecclesitheurge and Wizard dip, neither of which wants to wear armor, you literally have a spell called Mage Armor that the Wizard's definitely going to get. You cast it once a day. It's going to last for 24 fucking hours thanks to your enduring spells. And that's going to be amazing. Doesn't matter which spell book you cast it from, whether it's Wizard or Cleric. It both will last you for 24 hours. And it's normally just at +4 to your armor class. Well, this now turns it into +4 plus your mythic rank. So by the end of the build, it'll be +4 plus 10. That's 14 armor points right there from one spell. Throw on Shield, you're at another 4, so we're at 18. Throw on Shield of Faith, that's a +5 by the end of your build, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it goes to +6. So what did I say? So 14 and 4 is 18, plus another 5 is 23. And remember, you always got a base 10. So you're at a 33 armor class, and all you had to do was cast 3 fucking spells that you knew you were going to get at like level 1 anyway. So you can see the appeal of Archmage Armor, in my opinion. The thing that's missing, I'm trying to remember what the hell else I would have had. So obviously Enduring Spells is one of these. The other one probably would be the one that has to do with casting. Is there a way to find that? Special abilities, maybe? Abundant casting, combined spells, and Ascendant Summons. There it is. The other one is Ascendant Summons. And this one, I haven't tested it, but if it works like it should, would be amazing. It's supplementing your summoning ability. Remember your two different feats. You know, from Conjuration, we upgraded your Superior Summonings and your Abundant Summons, whatever the hell it's called. This one here is another upgrade based on your Mythic rank. So Strength, Dex, Con, Wisdom, and Charisma now instead of just a Strength and Con bonus, which is what the other one was giving us as far as the feat was concerned. Hopefully they stack, because that'd be amazing. And it's half our Mythic rank plus 1, so at level 10 it'd be 5 plus 1, so 6 to all those stats. So 6 extra Strength, 6 extra Dex, 6 extra Con, 6 extra Wisdom and Charisma. That means those guys are tough as nails. And remember, your Undead, which Weekend Summons, should fall under this category, I believe. Not for the other guy, because those are summon spells proper, which means conjuration spells. So Animate Dead and Create Undead won't benefit from those feats at all. However, Ascendant Summons might. And if this works, that Charisma bonus that you're seeing here, remember Undead don't have a con stat. They have a Charisma stat, and the Charisma stat is what dictates how many hit points they have and how good their Fortitude saves are. So if this bonus goes up, you expect your Animate Dead and your Create Undead spells, those pets, to have more health, which would be pretty baller in my opinion. Notice, of course, they also ignore damage reduction except for that ever popular number/dash, which is, again, probably pretty rare. So that's a nice way for them to suddenly be viable in combat again. So really, really nice thing to have here. So again, hopefully this build gets you what you guys were looking for. I need to show you the glitch. So let's actually load up this one here. This is an Imperial Sorcerer one, like you guys were looking for. It's only level 1, so I have to force level the character. So again, just to show you your character right now, you are level 1 Imperial Sorcerer, and that's it. The spread on this one, again, you see that I did go a little bit heavy on dexterity on that one, because I assume that's what you guys want. So we start with a 7 Strength, 16 Dex, 12 Con, 12 Intelligence, 19 Wisdom, 14 Charisma. And again, this is a Wisdom, Charisma, Asymmer build, the type of Asymmer that we picked. Buffs those two stats. And again, good reasons for wanting both of those stats buffed. Why? Wisdom is going to be your main casting stat for both spells, both spellbooks. Your Imperial Sorcerer, go off of Wisdom, which is one of the reasons I assume you guys picked that. And then your Ecclesitheurge Cleric would again go off of Wisdom. So that's a solid choice. From there, why Charisma then? Well, A, Persuasion is important for you, because again, you have a kingdom to rule. But B, you're going to get selective channel energy, so you can at least AoE heal the team. And I believe the Imperial Sorcerer will get the ability to heal AoE style, like yeah, right there, channel positive energy. And again, it should stack with your levels of the other guy. But the question is are we going to actually unlock that many? Again, probably not, because level 9. You're probably going to go 4 levels of this and 4 levels of the other build, the Ecclesitheurge, then Mystic Theurge. So let's actually do this. So what you do is Megatrix. You will do this the old-fashioned way by actually leveling your character, but I'm just going to fast forward through this stuff here. Again, just keep going for 4. There's no reason not to keep going for the same. Got to make sure that Arcana and Religion at least get to 3. So that's how you unlock Mystic Theurge. Come on. Nope. Hold down. Thank you. Party. Wait. Okay, Pure Sorcerer again. Again, definitely unlock those. And at that point, you don't have to really invest in them that much right now. I'm going to just pick something here. Conjuration, sure. From here, again, whatever you feel. Notice that we already have picked the Conjuration spell, Snowball. Got Bloods for free, and Mage Armor was like a solid choice. Get yourself Shield spell, sure, fine. This is not instructive for you on this part. I'm just trying to get you to where I show you the glitch. So here's we are level 4 Sorcerer. This is when we finally unlock level 2 spells. Notice all 5 points are going into Wisdom because that's your main casting stat, and you want that as high as possible. Let's get that Perception finally to get caught up. Here we want to grab spells that are good attack spells. Glitter Dust is another one of those beautiful Conjuration spells that, again, no spell resistance. Okay, now, just to show you, you have level 2 Arcane casting. That's a requirement for your Mystic Theurge. Now, we need to switch over to do your Divine casting. And that, like we said, you said you wanted Cleric, and you said you wanted to probably be the Ecclesitheurge, because it's more about casting than it is anything else. Solid choice, in my opinion. Keep going, that, and Persuasion. Precise Shot, sure. Channel Positive Energy, you have no choice. Again, you already had your deity, you pick thanks to your Imperial Sorcerer, so whatever we have is limited to here, so I'll do Sun Domain. And remember, don't the spells, the main spells are of value, I believe, but not very much. Know that your Battle Rage, that stuff that happens at level 1, that's the important stuff. So Glory Domain, you're not going to get that Aura of Heroism. The Good Domain, you're not going to get the Holy Lance. You get the idea. So of these, War Domain, sure, I don't care. Now, notice how we have one level of Cleric, Ecclesitheurge specifically, but again, this is our full Cleric spell book, right? Level 1, obviously, just to show you that it's currently working, because I want to show you where the glitch comes along. Again, we're going to keep going, Ecclesitheurge. Always Perception, and if you can, I would go Arcana and Religion as often as possible. Probably need to unlock Mythic rank 1. My phone agrees. Also going to be level 7 as well. So I'm going to do 2 levels because I probably should have done this sooner. So here is your level 3 Ecclesitheurge. Remember, Cleric. Again, I'll show you this. The spells are working as appropriate. Select a channel, sure, fine. So now, look at your spell book for Cleric. Level 1, fine. Level 2, fine. Watch this now. We're not there yet, but we're going to be there shortly. Mystic Theurge, or Mythic Path, Close to the Heavens, sure. Abundant Casting, sure. Moving on. I'm just trying to fast forward through this part, guys. Mystic Hero again, or Mythic Hero again. Mythic ability, I usually take that one. Let's get the Ascendant Summon, sure, I don't care. Okay, now, again, go back to your spell book just to prove to you that everything's still fine. So, Sorcerer, you only have the spells that you picked. Remember, you are a spontaneous caster currently, and always for the Sorcerer side of things. But your Cleric, again, 1 and 2, all the spells. Nothing for level 3 yet, right? Now, this is where the glitch happens. So, if you go, let's say, level 8, we'll make this go up at level 9. Okay? So, again, Theurge, boom, more Wisdom, sounds good, more Perception, and those guys go up, sounds good. Okay, now, here's where the trick's going to fuck you up. Go to level 9, and 3 for your Mythic rank, where we finally pick being an Angel. So first, we do our level. Now notice, 4 and 4, we have done everything we needed to get Mystic Theurge, because you have to be level 2 casting, and that's 4 levels of, 3 levels of Cleric, 4 levels of Imperial Sorcerer. So I could have done this probably even a little bit sooner. That's okay. We now have, of course, low religion in Knowledge Arcana up to at least 3. They're up to 7. So again, I could have done it sooner. We're still fine. Go here. Notice you're not going to get as many points as you're hoping for because, again, low intelligence and you're not human. Sure, I don't care. Just moving along on this part. Cleric is the type of spell progression. So your Mythic Theurge is going to ask you which class is going to be your Divine Caster. So if you had, like, say, Cleric and Paladin levels, you'd have to pick Cleric or Paladin, your choice. Or Ranger, you get the Druid. In our case, we went Cleric. Obvious. Same with the Wizard side of things. If you were a Wizard and a Sorcerer, and enough to be level 2 casting for either of them, it would give you a choice. I think Bard might even fit in this category as well, but I can't remember if they're considered arcane enough. Imperial Sorcerer, though, obviously the only choice you have. Now notice again, it's letting you pick spells. These are your spells for your Sorcerer side of things. So again, pay attention. Let's grab, I mean, I'm not telling you what to pick. I'm just saying pay attention to what you are picking. So pick the spells that make sense to you, because those are your spells that you're married to. Okay, now before we do Angel, again, go back to your spell book. Prove to you that everything is working. Level 1 Sorcerer, getting all our shit here. Level 2, look how it's giving us all our Cleric shit. And because we have unlocked Mythic Theurge, level 1, allows us to take level 1 spells from the Cleric side of things and add them to our level 2 spell list. Same we're going to see here in Cleric in a minute. So again, everything's working as intended. We still have our sorcerer spells like Acid Arrow that I just picked, and all the other spells like Glitter Dust, for example, are still in here. All the other ones then again are coming from level 1 Cleric. Go to Cleric. Notice that again we're up to level 3 casting now for it, because remember, Clerics upgrade to the next level at every odd number. So a level 5 Cleric technically is level 3 spells. Remember, it's at level 1, level 3, level 5, level 7, on and on it goes. Sorcerer has to get to the even numbers. So it starts at level 1 for level 1, then you have to wait all the way to level 4 to get to level 2 spells. Then it'll be level 6, level 8, level 10, and you get the idea. Now watch this. You have level 1 spells, normal Cleric stuff, level 2 spells. Notice that we have wizard spells in here. So like Snowball, Shield, if you were ever in doubt that this was a merged spell book, Mage Armor and Shield should be your first indication that this isn't shit that should be in the Cleric's list. Why is it here? Oh yeah, because I'm a Mystic Theurge. So again, we see all our Cleric spells though. Again, our Cure spells looking good. Level 3 spells, again, currently are just Cleric spells. Again, working as intended, right? Right. Now watch this. Angel. This gives us 3 levels of Cleric. Boom, if we merge our spellbook. Again, I'm just going to pick something because I don't care. But you have to pick this one, Mythic Spellbook Cleric. That's the one that merges our spellbook. And by the way, Devs, I wish this was a better tooltip. Take part as an existing full Divine Spellcaster spellbook or as a standalone spellbook. I wish you'd say Mythic Spellbook standalone, Mythic Spellbook, and again, the one you're merging it with. Devs, this would be a better way to understand this so people that are new don't have to rely on my ramblings for hours on end to figure this shit out. But this is the one you want. Okay? Now, again, for a frame of reference, Cleric, Sorcerer, right? 4 and 4, no. 4 and 4 plus 1 each. So it's a level 5 Sorcerer, level 5 Cleric, right? No, because again, you have your Mythic Path already in Angel. That's 3 levels of our Cleric added on top of it. So what is our character at right now? 5 level Sorcerer, 5 plus 3 Cleric. So we just jumped from level 5 to level 8 instantaneously. So where's our spellbook looking like? Again, 5 and 8, like I just said. Go to Cleric, though. Go here to 1. All your Cleric spells just like normal. 2, Cleric and Wizard spells, or Sorcerer, excuse me, spells. Again, look at your Mage Armor, Shield. 3, again, was fine before. Still just the Cleric stuff. Now look at 4. That is not all your Cleric spells, son. See the glitch? This is the glitch. And if you did it in the wrong order, because again, I jumped around and did this weirdly. I've actually had it where I've lost level 3 and level 4 spells. I still had my spells, my unique ones that come with being an angel. So this shit here, which again are the unique angel spells. That's why these are here. At level 3, there are unique angel spells in here. Grant Repose, I believe, is one. Shield of Demonkind is definitely another. So is Ward from Disease. So at least 2 or 3 of these are going to be unique, quote unquote, from the angel side of things. So if I had that spell book where only 3 and 4, that's all I got was like this shit, this list here would be much shorter. It'd be like 3 spells or 4 spells, and that's it. And it never fixed itself until I literally saved, logged off the game, and then logged back on today, and they're like, oh shit, they gave them back to me. So again, this is missing, right? You are a level 8 Cleric. Where the hell are my level 4 spells? Because a level 8 Cleric should have access to level 4 spells. So let's actually try this shit, see if this actually works. So we'll do a quick save. And I would suggest after you quick save, go to the main menu. Then load back in, or continue. And hopefully it fixes itself. Please work. Because it worked for me and I didn't do anything. So that's why I say please, because I don't know that this is going to solve the problem. Clear. Yeah, there's my level 4 spells. See that? That's the shit that was missing. Okay, so this is your solve, guys. Until they fix this on a bug report, just know that that weird glitch can be solved. The other glitch, though, that I couldn't solve until I did that as well, is not only did it do it here at 3 and 4 for me normally, again, 4 for me just a moment ago, which you just saw, but by the end of the build, it also did it again at level 9, and I don't know why. So level 9 just said, nope, you don't get any 9 spells except for, again, the unique ones. Again, like your Blade of the Sun or your Ward from Unclean and all this weird shit, the one that's unique to the Angel Path. So that was kind of pissing me off too, because level 9 Cleric spells, I'm like, fucking seriously, I can deal with maybe not getting level 3 or level 4 Cleric stuff. I mean, I miss them, but it's still one of those where I'm like, I guess it sucks. But when I missed out on level 9, I was furious, and that's when I closed the game. I saved and closed the game down. So fuck it, went home, went back to bed. Now that I can solve that problem, I got my level 9 spells back. And of course 3 and 4, as you just saw. So this is your workaround. until someone bug reports that shit and they fix that, patch that in. Again, I'm not worried about it. That someone's going to see that beyond me and report that shit. But that's it. That's the solve. And again, that's how you see that you're like missing shit. You're like, where the fuck are my spells? Yeah, that was important. And again, I don't know that Sorcerer would have a similar problem. I don't think they should. But the Cleric did. And again, the reason I say that is because Clerics, even though they're a prepared caster, the Wizard side of things never had a problem. But again, the Wizard side of things, you scribe spells to your spellbook anyways. You just fucking scribe them. Poof, problem solved. So it wasn't missing anything. And it made you pick spells as you leveled up the Wizard side of things. So again, you still got your free 2 spells every level. Even Mythic rank levels, if you went like Lich, for example, you would get those 2 free spells. Poof, here you go. Here's 2 free spells. Pick them again. Poof, here you go. But for the Angel side of things, Clerics are just not spontaneous. They're dumped their spells, if you will, right at level up. So something glitched in there where it's like, oh, you don't get those because you got them from the Angel path. The fuck, I don't want my goddamn spells. So again, save, come back, and you'll see that they're there. So that's a nice workaround, and I'm happy beyond all measure that this is actually self-resolving. So I don't have to do a bug report per se, because I can work around that shit with just nothing more than a save and knowing that information, which I'm passing along to you guys here. Hopefully this will be make sense for those of you there. We're looking at this build again. This is for Sechrima and Hazel Vandice. Again, I hope I'm saying those names right, guys. Hopefully you guys like what I did with the build. Again, this one is different as far as, no, not feats, I mean, because I would still pick the same types of feats, so ignore what I did here. But as far as the stat spread here, this would be probably more what you guys were looking for. No strength, because who cares? A solid dex, because you do care. You're going to be a blaster caster, and ray spells are going to be a thing. Con still 12, good enough for me instead of 14. Intelligence is the real problem for me here. Though you don't need it for anything other than your skills, but I still miss my skills. But again, that's on you. Solid wisdom, starting off at 19 and finishing with 24 by the end of the build. And both of your spell casting progressions are based off of that wisdom, which means that this massive number that you're going to see over here by the end of your build, and of course you're going to invest in high wisdom gear, you will be a crushing motherfucker. The downside again is for the Imperial Sorcerer. A, you won't get as the level 9 spells like the Wizard Cleric split that I showed you earlier in this video. B, you have to pick your spells as far as you level up the Sorcerer side of things. And be careful. A, if it's coming from your Cleric side of things, let's see if I can find you a spell as an example, something that's on both of them. Protection from alignment. Something that, again, the Sorcerer should have access to. They didn't pick it, so it's not here. You'll notice at level 2, it's not here. It's not coming from the Cleric side of things. Why? Because a Sorcerer had access to it. They need to pick it at level 1 as a level 1 spell pick to get it on both spellbooks that way. Because Clerics, they just get their spells. Sorcerers, they have to pick their spells. Again, stuff that transfers over will only transfer over if it's unique. If it's something that the Cleric would have, but the Sorcerer would not. That's when you'll see it over here. If it's something like, let's see, I'll give you another example. One that would be something that both of them have access to and you need to pick. Summon Medium Elemental. Summon Monster 1 through 9. If you want it to be in your Sorcerer side of things, you have to pick it. Cleric, they're just going to get it. So if that's good enough for you, hell, I mean, I can slot up on my summons down here, man, and just be like, the Cleric spellbook is going to be all about the summons. I'll use the Sorcerer stuff for, like, the divine casting, you know, the cure spells and the unbreakable hearts and the shield of faith, the buff spells, if you will, and all that cool shit over here. That's fine. And again, you have a bunch of them. It's not going to be every spell, though. Remember that only works for levels 1 through 5, becomes level 2 through 6 on the other spellbook. So level 1 Sorcerer spells will be in the level 2 Cleric spell list. Level 2 Cleric spells that are unique to the Cleric will be in the level 3 Sorcerer, once we unlock that high enough, of course. And again, Sorcerer on this build would be, there'll probably be 3 levels of Ecclesitheurge, 7 levels of Sorcerer, just for some fun, 10 levels of Mystic Theurge, and 10 levels, of course, of the Angel Mythic path. You do that, you'll finish with a 23 Cleric, level of Cleric for the spellbook, and you'll finish with a 17 on the Sorcerer, which will be only good enough to get you to level 8 spells for the Sorcerer side of things. But it's still 7 to 8 spells, those are fucking powerful. And the Cleric gets all the spells level 1 through 9. So again, you're still doing fine. I just prefer the Wizard Cleric split. With that, though, I hope that's what you guys were looking for. My name is Brother Mean. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think of this very odd build. Know that, in my opinion, again, you still do want to be Cleric first, even though I started as an Imperial Sorcerer on this one. You should be Cleric for the first 3 levels. Ecclesitheurge, Cleric, whatever Cleric you want to be. For the first 3 levels. Why? Because it's always beneficial to have someone that can heal on the team. Especially if it's you and someone else on the team, so you got 2 healers going around. Those early levels are very hard to muddle through, especially on the harder difficulty. And having someone that can be the the healing buff bot, the white mage, however you want to fucking look at it, is extremely powerful to get everyone to survive long enough to get to level 3, 4, and 5 when you start unlocking the wizard side of things, or in this case, the Imperial Sorcerer side of things. That's why I would say go Cleric first. Remember, you need to get to level 2 spell casting for both the Divine and the Arcane casting. So for Cleric, that's 3. For Wizard, that's 3. For those Oracles, or the spontaneous casters, the Oracles and the Sorcerers and shit like that, that would be level 4. And that's why your guys' build is going to be weird versus my build, which is also weird, but in a different way. So again, 3 Cleric, 7 Wizard or Imperial Sorcerer, and then 10 of Mystic Theurge. As soon as you can get Mystic Theurge unlocked, though, I recommend that you tap into that immediately. So don't do 3 and 7 and 10, like I just said. Do 3 and 3, or 3 and 4 in your case, and then 10, and then finish back up with your Imperial Sorcerer, or in my case, Wizard, at the end of the build. With that, though, again, my name's Brother Mean. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.